Welcome, friends, Last Guy here, and it's time for a review for Spider-Man Homecoming, and then it'll be a spoiler talk after. So, the first bit's gonna be talking about the movie in review form, just not spoiling anything, just saying how great it was. Because it's very good, I recommend it. And then, after like a minute pause, we're gonna go ahead and do the spoiler talk. And the spoiler talk is, of course, gonna be if you've seen the movie. If you don't care about spoilers, then we can talk about that like that, but I'm gonna summarize the movie and just talk about all the great moments I thought they were great in the movie in the spoiler talk. But for the review, it's gonna be spoiler free and just tell you why I think it's great. So let's start. So the acting is top notch in this movie. I think everyone acted very well. Just such good acting, a lot of good facial features and everything. The high schooler stuff. So no actor is under 20 years old. Spider-Man's 20. His chubby friend is 20. The love interest is 27, by the way. The other girl, the one who in the trailer, the one who says you guys are kind of lame or whatever she says, or you guys are creepy, she's 20 as well. So no one's actually a teenager in this thing, but they play teenagers very well in this movie. There's like a nervousness about some of the characters about certain situations, or they just, when it comes to Peter Parker and his love interest Liz, they make faces at each other on occasion at different times. And it looks very authentic. They do a very good job there, and I like it a lot. The main things, though, let's see here. Spider-Man, Vulture, Iron Man. These things are done very well. Robert Downey Jr.'s acting in this movie is really good. He's kind of like this father figure to Peter Parker. Like, he feels that it's kind of like this father figure situation going on. And in his scenes, he shows that he's trying to be a good mentor, a good father figure to Peter Parker. But he's not really sure if he's doing it right, because all he has is his father to remember, and so he's just struggling with that. So it's very interesting, those scenes. Then there are the Vulture scenes. Now, what I like about this movie with the Vulture is, they spend time with the Vulture. He's in a good chunk of this movie, so we get to see the Vulture a little bit, so the Vulture is more developed. People complain about Marvel villains all the time. This one gets enough time to become three-dimensional. This is very important. Vulture is three-dimensional. It's Michael Keaton. He's a great actor. He knows how to deliver things very well, and he's very interesting in this movie, and his motivations are clear. The things he does, his frustrations with dealing with Spider-Man are there. He's very confident in what he does. He's a great character. He's done very well. It's Michael Keaton. This is a man who's been acting for a long time. He knows how to show emotion, and he does it very well. And he comes off as a very clever guy. Like, he's a guy that he's scrappy, and he has his reasons for doing what he does. And he is just motivated, and he just does things very well. And it's played very well. This is the best way I can put it is, the Vulture's played very well. He's played smart, he's played just good on the emotions and on what he's going for and what he's trying to do. And then you got Tom Holland Spider-Man. Tom Holland is amazing as Spider-Man. He does excited young Spider-Man very well. This is year zero Spider-Man right here. And he does excited Spider-Man very well. The young grit that Spider-Man has in high school, he has that in his character. He does it very well. Just being excited about everything, wanting to just be the hero, wanting to just do the right thing. He has that great young character wanting to be a hero kind of dynamic to him, and it's done very well. And what I like about the Spider-Man, because it's year zero, is he makes a lot of mistakes in this movie, and he's doing all the crimes. And this is what I like about it is, Spider-Man's very relatable because of the fact that he is, he's in high school and then he grows up and everything, so people see him from a young age and go on. And he just tries to be a hero. That's what he wants to do. He just wants to go out there and help people. And in this movie, you see that. You see him just do his day-to-day, and it's him just helping everyone. He's giving a lady directions. He's stopping a bike thief. He's stopping a car thief. He's just trying to just be a hero and help people out. And at times he makes mistakes where he just slips and falls while trying to web swing onto things. Or just makes mistakes, or there's nothing to web swing onto, so he's just running around and having a lot of trouble. And it's just done so well, him trying to figure things out and making mistakes. Because that is the big difference between him and all the other Marvel heroes we've seen so far is, they've been pretty perfect. Thor's pretty perfect, Hulk's been pretty perfect, well, he does a lot of destruction, but Iron Man's been pretty perfect from the beginning, Captain America's been pretty perfect from the beginning. Sure, Doctor Strange has a little bit of trouble here and there, but he's been pretty perfect throughout the whole thing. All these heroes are just perfect throughout the movies, while Spider-Man, because he's young, and it's his first year at it, he's very, very not professional, and he makes a lot of mistakes, and it comes back to bite him, and it's done very well. That's what I really like about Spider-Man in this movie is, we get to see like an origin story that feels more authentic and more real in a way. And so it's more relatable in that way as well. And I don't have any real complaints about this movie. There's like little nitpicks here and there for the sake of seeing what is not perfect. There's little nitpicks here and there, but it's a great movie. It's a very entertaining movie, start to finish. From the start, you're jacked into it. From the bottom, you're in there. I mean, from the end. So from the start to finish, you will like this movie. There is a lot going on here. The ebb and flow is very good. The high moments are very good. Ease into lower moments. Like, it's a very good waveform. It's a very good roller coaster. You really enjoy it a lot. There's a lot of good highs and lows, but it never gets too boring at any point. Like, you're in there. I was invested the entire movie. I really liked it. There was good humor in there, good action. The low points that are supposed to be low, they're very good. The high points were very high. And I just really like this movie as a whole. It's very well crafted, well shot, good music, well acted. Just really liked it across the board. So there's not really much more to say besides just looking at the characters specifically. I just really like it. And I think this Spider-Man movie will satisfy Spider-Man fans. It's a high school Spider-Man again, but it's done very well. We'll probably see him in high school at least one more movie, and then maybe we'll see college Spider-Man. And I would like to see Tom Holland as Spider-Man for a while. I hope we get to see Spider-Man for a while. Like, I don't want to see him in reboots right now. I want to see a Spider-Man grow up and become a man. And this is our best shot at it, I feel. This is a pretty good Spider-Man, very entertaining. He just does it very well. And there are surprises in this movie. Really good ones. Like, just actual twists that are not... They're just done well, I felt. And it's pretty good. And there are a lot of little Easter eggs here and there that I caught a couple, but not all of them. And I'm sure someone who really knows it, there's so many Easter eggs in there. I just really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And I recommend it. Just looking through notes on anything else in there. It does the whole Spider-Man choosing between normal life and a super life kind of thing in there as well. And yeah. I just looking at the notes as far as non-spoiler territory. Pretty good movie. All the things in the trailer, it's better than it really... You see in the trailer all these cool things, and they're really cool, and there's more around that stuff that's really great, like the boat scene. And when it's Spider-Man versus the bank robbers. Spider-Man versus the bank robbers, when you see the actual fight, it's pretty good. They get a couple shots in on them, too. It's pretty... I like that. And then you get to see the suit in action. There are some great scenes in this movie. It's pretty great. I like it a lot. And so, I recommend it. Recommend it a lot. So, gonna spend 60 seconds, well, probably less than that. Just, I'm gonna take the time so that if you're just listening to this, you got the time to just pause this right now so you don't hear the spoiler talk, in case you don't want to get spoiled for the movie, because we're gonna talk for spoils after this point. So just telling you right now, spoiler talk coming up. Some people really care about that. I care about spoilers a lot, so that's why I'm giving the time to pause it. And then we're gonna go right into just talking about the movie and spoiler talk and everything. Oh, by the way, the Stan Lee moment is great. And the end credits is perfect. The end credits is perfect. Oh my god, it is just great. It is an amazing end credits. And the mid credits is really good as well. And let's give it a little bit more count. So I'm going to go get the scarf because that's the spoiler thing. Be right back with the scarf. It is the high 90s in California right now, and I'm wearing a scarf. I deserve all the heat I'm about to get right now. So I just wanted to talk about, specific spoilers like, that was cool, that was cool, that was cool. I like that the movie starts with Vulture. I like that we see the Vulture first, and you see him, he's salvaging the Shatari stuff and all that stuff going on, and then they're like, nope, you can't salvage any of it. And he's like, I spent all this money on all these things, all this salvage and everything. Like, well, you shouldn't have overextended. And he punches the guy. Deservedly so. They get screwed over by the government, all this stuff. They should at least, reimburse him or something, because this is a guy who got the contract to do all this stuff, and like, nope, you can't do any of it. So, of course, he's going to want to get salvaged somehow, his situation. And you get how he's the Vulture. He's a salvage guy. He's a Vulture. And so it's kind of just people creating their own problems. That's really what it is. And you get that mindset later on when you have Vulture talking about how the people at the top, they don't care about the little people and all that stuff. And you get his mindset, you understand him a bit better. And that's what I like about Vulture is he is three-dimensional. His reasons are he's doing it for the people working for him and for his family. And he's just making a living, and the people at the top, they don't actually care. So he's going to do what he's got to do to make things go, to make things work out for him and his family. That's his whole motivation. And I think it's pretty good. And I like that he's a bit crafty. Like later on in the movie when he drops the building on Spider-Man, he's very clever there. And he has men around him who are smart as well, or that support him, and that was pretty cool. I like that he had a supporting crew with him, and he works with them, and it works out pretty well. I like that he has Shocker on his side, and that is Shocker. That is actually Shocker. I guess it's obvious because he's Shocker, but his name in the cast list, so I forget his name right now. That is the actual name of Shocker. So that is actually Shocker from the comics. He's here. He is in this movie. So that was pretty cool that he has these supporting guys. And then, of course, after we see all the salvage stuff and then he becomes the Vulture, we see Peter Parker's video. And that was amazing. That was really entertaining. I like that. It was a great moment of just showing us Peter Parker and his mindset and just how he's a kid. He's supposed to be 15. He's supposed to be 14, 15 right now. He is a kid here, and it shows, and it's just great, very entertaining. We get to see Happy be such curmudgeon towards him and everything, and the stuff with Tony Stark. And him hugging Tony Stark is great. He's like, I'm not going for a hug, I'm just opening your door for you. It's a great joke, but it's also weird that Tony Stark opens the door for him when he could have just opened the door for himself. It's kind of weird, but it's great, pretty entertaining there. And then, of course, we see Peter at school, and he's got the Stark internship, and he's just dropping everything. He's dropping out of these things he likes to do, or he used to do, because he wants to be a full-time Avenger. He wants to be Spider-Man full-time. And so he's just dropping all his extracurriculars so he can go around and just be a hero. And this is what I really like about Spider-Man is I think I would do the same thing. I like how relatable he is. I think I would do the same thing. I think if I had this opportunity, I would just want to do that. This goes back to the thoughts of I played City of Heroes back in the day. And that game you get to be a hero. And my first night of playing that game was just me randomly running around and just attacking every thug committing crime. That's all I did. And I think that's what I would do if I actually had powers is I would just go out there and just stop crime. I would just look for crime and stop it. That's what I like is he's looking for crime and he gets bored waiting for it. And he just keeps waiting for it. And he's like, finally, some action. He goes and does it. He's a kid with a toy. He really wants to play with it. And so he gets to, and he's having a lot of fun with it. But what's key here is what I like what we see is when he's doing all this stuff, like he saves the bike, he helps the leader the directions. He's just helping everyone out he can. And we see him screw up his spider webbing a little bit when he goes web, screws up, and just hits the ground. That was great. And we see him do that whole car save, and Stan Lee's there. That was very entertaining. And then there's the bank robbery. And the bank robbery, he takes on things that are a bit stronger, and he gets a little hurt. And he ends up not doing it cleanly, and it gets his favorite sandwich shop destroyed. And he goes in and saves the guy, which is very key. And just like, oh no, that guy's probably dead. Or no, he goes in there and saves the guy and his cat. I like that he doesn't give up. He goes out there. He doesn't just assume they're dead. He goes in there and saves somebody. That's great. And we see him find the bank, and it's like he has some trouble there. And let's see here. Ned learns truth. That was great. There was some surprise in this movie I didn't see coming. One is Ned learning the truth. His chubby friend, his sidekick in a way, the man in the chair, him learning the truth was a nice surprise. I did not see that coming, and I like that. That is the problem Spider-Man has, is he has no one to talk to. He has nobody to talk to. Giving him someone to talk to in this movie, I thought was great. Giving him a friend, someone who can share in what's going on. I like that a lot. I think the changes they made to Spider-Man for the movie universe, I like that. I like that that was the thing going on. And how he has some support. Because it's just Spider-Man's on his own, usually. It's just him on his own. He's got his aunt, kind of, and then he's got the memory of his uncle. I like that the uncle doesn't get mentioned at all in this movie. It's hinted at. It is hinted at, because he's like, Aunt May's been through a lot. She's been through a lot of stuff. We don't need her to know about Spider-Man. You can tell there's something going on in his head about that, and you're assuming Uncle Ben is that assumption. Like, you have to assume it's Uncle Ben. And so it's him, and it's Ned, and Ned is a bit of a dork. He's a bit of a dummy. He just says all these things. What I like about Ned is kind of just, he's smart in some ways and dumb in other ways. He's like, well, what about this? What about that? He's asking Spider-Man all the things that I would think someone would ask him if he was his high school friend. I think they would ask him these questions. And that's what I like about this movie is it does a lot of good job being organic, at least in my opinion. What do you think on that? But him and then Ned asking those questions, and then the party happens, right? And He's like, look, you can come in as Spider-Man at the party. It'll really impress the girl you like. It'll impress Liz. That'll be cool and everything. And so we have this moment that happens often, which is he's in the Spider-Man suit. He's like, am I going to really go into this party and act like I'm friends with Peter Parker and I'm friends with Ned and everything? And then he sees crime. And so he does crime. He ditches the party to go fight crime. This is something that also happens with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man as well. So it's a character trait you see with Spider-Man is he's doing all these things, but it hurts his responsibilities in other ways. And he goes, of course, and he sees the gun selling to Aaron Davis. By the way, Aaron Davis is the Prowler. Who did not know that the Prowler is a villain who turns a new leaf with the help of Spider-Man. That's what's going on there. And you get that hint of that because Aaron Davis is like, whoa, these are really cool weapons. I just want a regular gun. That's all he wants, but there's all these really cool weapons. He wants something a little more, not explodey is what the guy wants. And we see him again later on. And then there's the van fight and the van chase scene. All that stuff was really cool. We see Spider-Man destroy so much property trying to catch that van, which is great, and him dealing with the van. And then the Vulture catching him, and the Vulture nearly killing him, which was amazing. I'm like, oh god, he is stuck in the... How's he going to get out of this? And then Iron Man saves him, right? Like, once he got in the water in that parachute, I'm like, Iron Man knows what's happening. So I was wondering if Iron Man was going to be there, and Iron Man shows up and saves him. It's not actually Iron Man, it's just the suit. He's over in... Can't remember where he is. I don't actually think he says where he is. He just mentions Ganesh. I think he mentions Ganesha. And so he's over in, assuming India? That's where they worship that? Let me know if I'm wrong on that. That's Hindu, right? So yeah, India. And so they have that talk, and he's like, oh. And he's like, you got this. And then Iron Man reveals that the suit kind of has some things in there, like a heating mode, which really helps Peter out, which is great, because he was in the water. And then there's that. And then we get to see Vulture again. And Vulture is like getting an argument with the dude who calls himself the Shocker. And he's like, what the hell, man? And he's like, you know what, you're fired. And the guy's like, what? You're going to fire me? He tries to blackmail Vulture. And Vulture kills him. What I like is he's like, wait. Like, he grabs a gun and shoots him. He's like, wait, that wasn't the anti-grav gun? He's like, no, the anti-grav gun's over there. He's like, oh, well, oops. And he doesn't really bat an eye at killing him. It's more, I can't tell if he was joking that he meant to use the grav gun, or he really did mean to get the grav gun, but he's like, screw it, that guy sucked anyway. Not really sure. But that was a cool scene. We get to just see more of Vulture. We get to see just things going on with Vulture, and we constantly see him just use his family's justification for what he does, and also the people working for him. And let's see, tracking the bad guys. Oh yeah, so then it's it's him and Ned, and they're investigating. And I like the scene in the shop where Ned shows he actually has intelligence. He shows that he understands tech. He's not really smart in other ways, but he understands tech, which is great. And that's a good scene. Oh yeah, also earlier there was the gym with the Captain America video, which is hilarious. Hannibal Buress in there. Oh my god, just Hannibal Buress. Doesn't really do a lot in the movie though, but it's Hannibal Buress being Hannibal Buress. And just the Captain America video was funny to see that. And then, yeah, the bad guys come to the school because they know that because Spider-Man recovers the Shatari piece, and then they got a sensor that says it was there, so he tracks the bad guys, right? Tracks them to Washington, D.C. I like that we see him and Ned just hanging out, just watching the tracker. I like that they're kind of having a stakeout. They're two buddies just waiting to see what's going to happen. I like these buddy moments they have between him and Ned because it shows that he has a friend and he has someone to just share in this, and that's pretty good for him. And then he ends up in Washington, D.C., right? So he goes back to the decathlon. He ends up in Washington, D.C. He ditches the decathlon. And once again, he has the choice. Could I just stay into the pool, or am I going to go be the good guy and try to stop this weapons deal thing? And so he goes and does that. And they unlock the suit, right? So they took off the training wheels off the suit, and he gets his AI with him. And his suit has 500 and something combinations of webbing. He's like, are you kidding me? What? Apparently, Iron Man, Tony Stark, really knows how to make his stuff. And here's the one joke that was hilarious but took me out of it, which was kill mode. Why does the Spider-Man suit have a kill mode? And it's weird. Why does Tony Stark have a kill mode in Spider-Man's suit? In case he needs it, I guess? And you think about it, Iron Man has not killed people. He kills Obadiah. He does he kill Whiplash, or does he's just Whiplash gets killed in the situation? He doesn't. Okay, he doesn't necessarily kill anyone. Kind of. He's killed in self-defense. So Iron Man has killed people, and he gives Spider-Man the option, the ability to kill people too if he wants. It's weird. Then let's see here. So they're the Washington D.C. Spicer can kill, and he does some tracking, and he takes on Vulture, and he gets trapped in the truck, right? And that was a pretty cool tech. Is I like that the guy shows a can phase through, gets a beer, and we get to see that later on. Like we get to see a smaller scale of something that's gonna come up later, which is this thing just allows him to go through, and then the guy can just do whatever he wants. So Vulture steals stuff and tries to get away. Spider-Man tries to stop him. He messes with the steel, but he gets stuck in the truck, and then he ends up in the depot. And then he's at the depot, and then I like how he's just learning how his suit works, and he's like, only 37 minutes have gone by. He's like, what? What I like is we get to see a lot of just him using the Spidey suit, which is cool, and then he makes friends with his suit in a way. He names it Lucifer's like, no, that'd be weird. Karen. Karen's the name of his suit. And then he learns that the thing's a bomb, which is not so great, and then he has to rush back over, and then the Washington Monument happens, and he's got to save his friends there, and that's a pretty cool scene. The one thing is, MJ, like later on we learn she's MJ, there were hints. There were subtle hints. I think that the surprise that she's MJ was fine. Like, I think it was earned because we see hints that she does see something within Peter Parker. Because, like, why does she hang out with the two of them? She thinks if they're creeps, and it's like, well, she doesn't have any friends, and hint that she thinks that she kind of likes those guys. And then we just get hints throughout the whole thing. Then we get the final hint. Her name's MJ. She replaces Liz, right? Later on, it's like, oh, okay, so she's MJ. It's MJ. Replacing Liz. She's the new girl to consider for the love interest. And she does make looks at him on occasion. She does make looks at Peter Parker. And there's also the whole scene is like, why are you here in detention when you don't have detention? Like, oh, I just like to draw people in despair. But she just likes Peter. It's very interesting. Let's see here. Just going off on that for a second. By the way, Liz is 27 in real life. The actress, she looks young, but no, she's 27. Holy crap. Okay, where are we? So the DC thing, the Washington Monument, that was a really cool scene with the elevator. How he's struggling to save them, and he has fumbles and everything saving them, but he does eventually save them all. That's great. I like how the suit's like, this is your chance to kiss her. It's like, what? What? And then that all happens, saves them all, and then they get back home. Spider-Man suits. And then we have interrogation mode. Oh, right. So he's still trying to stop the Vulture. He goes into interrogation mode, which I felt like was a joke at Batman, how he's got like this deep interrogation voice and everything. Like, where's the trigger kind of thing? Add Aaron Davis. And everybody's like, come on. No, not like that. I was like, what the heck? And then Aaron Davis like, look, you saved my life at that other situation and everything, so thanks for that. And it shows a hint that Aaron Davis, who is the Prowler, is a good guy, bad guy kind of character. So it shows that, and he tells Peter where to go. He's going to be at a ferry, and that's great and everything. And there's a funny back and forth with him. Like, Peter's like, oh, thanks for the information. And leaves like, no, I didn't tell you where it is. I just told you there's a thing. It's like, oh, right. And it goes there. There's all these great little moments of just Peter Parker, just Spider-Man being a little too energetic and missing the details, which is what I like, because that's a very young thing, a very mature thing. So I like that they have that. And then he's on the ferry, and the ferry happens. I like that he has this little drone helping him out. That was pretty cool right there. And like, wow, Spider-Man's really advanced, so we're not going to have like not gritty, but just regular mode Spider-Man. And well, of course, when I had that thought, that the next thing happens, of course, but they're at the boat. He's just watching everything. Tony Stark calls, and Tony Stark, of course, is hinting at he feels like a father figure. He's trying to be a better father than his dad in a way. I like that character dynamic between the two of them. He's like, look, I don't have time. I was like, you're hanging up on me? You're hanging up on Tony Stark? Which is great. And then, of course, he tries to stop the weapon deal, and the FBI shows up. He's like, oh, whoa, okay, that's interesting. And then he fights the Vulture, and then the gun goes haywire, and he's got to save the people from the gun happening to the ferry. And he's doing all these web stuff to try to stop it. It is the train scene again in a way, where he's struggling to save all these people on this thing. And he's just putting the web everywhere, keeping structural integrity as best he can. And then the AI says 98%, good job, 98% chance. He's like 98, not 100%. And then the thing comes apart. And then we have, of course, the iconic scene of from the trailer, the iconic trailer scene of him trying to hold the ship together by holding the webbing. There's that guy yelling, "Go Spider-Man," which is hilarious. And then Iron Man shows up and saves the day. And then the guy says, "Go Iron Man." And it's just Iron Man just kind of pissed at Spider-Man. And he's because he told Spider-Man to lay low, take on the little things, don't fight the big things yet, because bad things will happen, like this boat happening. And so it's Iron Man just really mad at him. And he's like, "Look, you like if you actually cared, you'd actually be here." And he's like, "I am actually here." He comes out of the Iron Man suit. He wasn't just sending a suit, it was Tony Stark this time. And he's just really mad at Spider-Man because, like, if anyone got killed on that boat, it'd be on you. And if you got killed, it'd be on me. And he doesn't want that, which is very interesting. So he takes the suit away. And what I like is there's the line. Instead of the line of "with great power comes great responsibility," the line is, "if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it." Because Peter Parker says, "I'm nothing without the suit. I'm nothing without this thing." He's like, "Well, then you shouldn't have the suit." And by the way, this is Spider-Man where his web slingers are, he makes them himself, the web fluid. And they show him working on and making it in class early in the movie, right? And I thought that was a great scene. That's a nice replacement to "with a great power comes great responsibility." That was a good replacement there. And then it's back to normalcy. He's in detention though, like he's in trouble for all these things, but he's like going back to normalcy. He's apologizing for what's happened, and this is of course the low point in the movie because, well, he keeps losing and he almost gets people killed. And now he's lost the suit, but he's just trying to be a normal student again. He returns to the decathlon club and everything. He gets a date with Liz. He admits his feelings. She admits her feelings. They have homecoming. And then the freaking twist, which I didn't see coming. There is a hint. I'm sure that you could argue there's a hint that you should have seen it coming. But I thought it was done well enough because Michael Keaton being the father of Liz was a pretty good surprise. Because he keeps mentioning his family, but he never says he has a daughter. He never says what he has. He says he has a family. He says he's got a lot of people to take care of because he's got a company, but he never says anything about who they are. And so when you see he's the father, you're like, "Oh, that was a good surprise." That was a good surprise because it's a surprise you don't see coming, I feel, but it's not unearned either. There's a lot of twists that are twists for the sake of being twists, but they're just not earned. This was an earned twist, I felt. That was pretty good. He's like, "Oh crap, Vulture's the dad of Liz." He's like, "Oh," and we see him just be intimidated, and yeah, Vulture being like, "Why is he kind of weirded out?" The thing is, I can't remember him seeing Vulture's face, but he had to see Vulture's face at some point. He meets Vulture 3 times. Now, this is the question I have to ask: is this a plot hole or not? So, those who've seen it, he encounters Vulture at the van. There's no way he saw his face then. He encounters Vulture on top of the truck, and then he gets stuck in the truck. Did Vulture's mask come off then? And then he encounters Vulture at the ferry. Now, that is probably where he sees Vulture because Vulture's there, and then he gets in his suit. But I don't remember if he ever saw Vulture before putting on the suit to connect the dots on that. That I don't know. As far as I like, he remembers that he's one of the people he saw on the ferry, and there you go. That part I'm vague on. I don't necessarily remember if he really did get a good look at Vulture's face. That one I'm not sure. Then, of course, they're in the car ride, and he's just very nervous about Vulture, and then Liz is like, "There's something weird between these two going on." And they just talk, and she just keeps saying things that reveal that Peter keeps disappearing a lot, and Peter was at DC and did disappear there too. He's like, "All right, things are coming together." I don't really know if this was enough for Vulture to figure it out, but it's enough for him to be a little suspicious because that's a little coincidental, a little convenient. And so he threatens him. He's like, "Okay, Spider-Man confirms he is Spider-Man." They have their time. He's like, "Look, you saved my daughter, and I didn't just shoot you right now, so we're even." Now, here's the thing. I don't actually know if there's any times where the Spidey sense is hinted at any point in the movie. I don't actually know. I'm trying to remember if he just has good reflexes at points or if he actually does have Spidey sense at any points. I can't remember right now if that happens. Because just Vulture's like, okay, yeah, you gave your warning and everything. Just leave that be. Leave me and my business be. Just go have your date with my daughter, and there you go. And then he, of course, goes to the party, and he's like, no, I can't do this. I have to go stop Vulture. He tells Liz, like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I'm ditching you at the date and everything, but I gotta go stop Vulture. He doesn't tell you that part, but he's like, I gotta go. And he gets a suit and everything. He runs up, and he gets caught by Shocker. Here's the question. When did Vulture have time to tell Shocker to go to that parking lot to catch him? Like, I get if he mingled for a little bit, and then he realizes, no, I gotta go do it, or he just took a long while or something, like, if there was enough time for Vulture to tell Shocker to go to the school and catch him, because the only exit he could potentially use is this one, because it adds up that they saw the thing at the school and everything, so everything's coming together a little bit for Vulture. I think if they did a little bit more for Vulture connecting the dots and a little bit, that would have been better earned, and also just how the hell did Shocker's there already, and he catches Spider-Man, he catches Peter, trying to get out of there. And then Ned helping out was pretty great right there, and then them capturing Shocker. That was a nice little fight with Shocker, but he takes him out pretty quick. That was a good little fight with Shocker, but it's kind of like, how did he know? And of course, he's tracking Vulture, he gets the Vulture, and he knows he's going to try to take the plane because he figures it out. Because that's the only thing that could be happening for the big job. And Ned's helping out, Ned's the guy in the chair. I like that. It kind of sucks. I like Happy's character. It kind of sucks how Happy's a bit of a douche. And this is like, what the? Get off the damn phone when they're trying to get a hold of Happy and warn him about what's going on. And of course, he gets to see Vulture there on the ground thing, and he's like, I'm here to stop you. And he's like, and they have their talk. Vulture's like, look, the people at the top don't care. They don't care about the little guys like you and me. They don't care at all. And he's kind of explaining things. He's justifying things a little bit and everything. He's like, he's not doing this to his daughter. He's doing this for his daughter. He's making all this money for his daughter. He's Breaking Bad. And so it's like, well, why are you explaining all this? He's like, oh, to buy time for the Vulture to launch. And the Vulture comes out and just charges around, just does all this damage to all these pillars. I'm like, he's hitting all these pillars. What I like is that Spider-Man doesn't figure this out. He's like, no, your Vulture isn't hitting me. I'm not worried. He's like, it's not aiming for you, kid. And he's like, oh, and it hits the last pillars and it drops down on Spider-Man. Like, nice. Dropping a building on Spider-Man just shows some cleverness to Vulture. I like that. Then just gets going and leaves. And so I thought that was pretty good. And then we have, of course, Spider-Man struggling under the rubble. And I like that scene because you have to have that scene where it's the hero having to rise. The hero rising is always a scene you have to see. And it's done very well here because he's got a building on him. He can't get it off of him. And then he just thinks back on the whole thing. If you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. And he's thinking about that, and then he gets out of there, and he just goes out to stop Vulture. And he catches on the Vulture. Vulture doesn't catch that Spider-Man's on him or anything, which is funny. And then they're on the jet. And the jet is pretty cool, the fact that it reflects and everything. We'll use like little cameras to reflect everything so that you cannot see him. And I like the little touch of it showing that how the tech works is you see Spider-Man through the top of the jet reflecting bottom. Because the way it works is little cameras are looking at something and reflecting it to the other side. That's how this technology works. Because this is an actual technology being developed for an actual kind of cloaking suit. Is little cameras seeing what's here and reflecting it over here. And same thing for that side, for the other side. That's how that technology works. And so I like that they show those little details. And then it's him and Vulture in the plane, or it's him. He's never in the plane, for real. It's him. He never gets in the plane, actually. Spider-Man's trying to get in the plane and stop Vulture, and he's causing Vulture trouble. And Vulture gets really mad, and he tries to kill Spider-Man. And then the plane crashes from their whole conflict. And this is what I like. Vulture beats up Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man doesn't get a real good fight in there. He doesn't get a real good shot in there. It's Vulture actually being a Vulture, grabbing like a bird and just dropping him, dunking him, and then goes and grabs the thing. And Spider-Man trying to sing, because he's going to blow up and get himself killed. He's trying to save Vulture. And then he does save Vulture. Like, Vulture just, things go wrong and Vulture nearly dies. And he saves Vulture. And so he saves Vulture's life. He ties him up, and there you go. Because I'm like, We're gonna have another dead villain, or is he gonna save him? And he saves him. This is another thing that separates Spider-Man from the other movies is he actually saves the villain. He saves their life. That's cool. I like that a lot. And that's great. And it earns respect from Vulture, which is what I like. But what's also there is what was interesting is there's no final fight. This is the key thing. There's no final fight. He's giving Vulture all this trouble. He's trying to stop Vulture, but there's never a point where he really just throws down with Vulture. Vulture beats him up a bit. He's giving Vulture some trouble too, but they don't have a real throwdown fight, which is something I appreciate because we see that too often already anyway. And so that happens. He saves Vulture. Vulture gets arrested. Liz moves away, so he loses Liz. And then MJ replaces Liz. And then the whole Avengers things happen. I like the bathroom scene. Happy in the bathroom. And they're talking, and the kid makes it all awkward from the bathroom. I like that a lot because I just like how the kid makes it awkward. I liked it. I like that they did that. Pretty funny. Turning down becoming an Avenger Spider-Man. That was pretty cool. You knew he was going to turn it down. You knew he was. But I thought it was very well done. Very well delivered. And the acting between, Happy and Pepper Potts and Tony Stark, that's pretty good acting there. And that's supposed to mean it is Tony Stark proposing to Pepper. That's what that scene's supposed to be. At least that's what everyone believes it's supposed to be. It's not they're just going to say anything. He actually is going to propose to her. Now, in the comics, it was not Tony Stark and Pepper Potts, if you didn't notice. It was Happy and Pepper Potts. It was his two sidekicks, basically, his two support people. They married each other. And then, unfortunately, Happy dies in Civil War in the comic book universe. And that's unfortunate. And then Pepper is single and sad because, well, she lost her husband and everything. But with how comics are now, I don't know if Pepper Potts is a love interest for Tony. I assume they are because of the movies. But back in the day, it was Pepper and Happy. It wasn't Tony and Pepper. It was Tony and some other girls. And let's see here. And then it is all that stuff. And then we get the final cut, the final scene. And that is Aunt May seeing him in the Spidey suit. I like that. It was it's him having his Tony Stark moment at the end of the first movie. Like, yeah, I'm Iron Man. Except it's revealed to Aunt May. And I like that. I like that it's revealed to Aunt May because of the fact that it's just so, I always thought it was dumb in the comics. Aunt May's been there for Peter for so long. She never freaking learns it. Have her learn it. They made her younger anyway. Have her learn it. Not make her like a psychic or helpful or anything, but having someone else who worries about him. His aunt's going to worry about him fighting crime. It's going to be a conflict between him and her, and I'd like that to be a conflict, because Peter never really has a conflict with Aunt May in the comics. Like old lady Aunt May. So I want to see this conflict in the next movie where she's like, I know you're a hero, but come on. Like, don't want you to get killed. And so I want to see that dynamic. Then the credits are pretty cool. Then we have the mid-credits. The Raft Prison, Vulture and Gargan. Gargan was, of course, the guy at the weapons deal, and he says he's got a lot of people he's going to bring together to take on Spider-Man. And he's like, and I heard you know who he is. And Vulture's saying, if I knew who he was, I would have killed him. I like that. I like that it gives more dimension to Vulture. Vulture, he's like, well, I got beat. He saved my life and everything. He has respect for Spider-Man. At least it seems like it. I think if he breaks out, I don't think he would be fighting Spider-Man unless Spider-Man gives him trouble. But Gargan is Scorpion. That guy's Scorpion. So future movie, we'll maybe see Gargan or something else, and that's Scorpion. So there are the villains forming around, and so that's pretty cool there. And the final scene is Captain America talking about patience. You can PSA about patience. The 3 Captain America PSAs were hilarious. I like that a lot. I really enjoyed that, and I thought it was the perfect way to end that movie. It was the perfect final credits scene. Was Captain America talking about patience and the rewards of patience. I really like that. I like it a lot because this is just waiting for the credits. And that was pretty good. So, that is all my thoughts on the Spider-Man movie. If you saw the movie, I want to know what your thoughts are on the movie. Just what are your opinions? It's just, I enjoyed it a lot. I liked a lot about the movie. I, of course, skipped a lot of things because if I keep talking, it's going on forever. We talked for like 30 minutes already. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Start to finish, very enjoyable. But what are your thoughts? What do you think about? Okay, the main ones. Okay, you can say whatever you think about anything, but the main ones I'm wondering about, of course, are the kill mode in the spider suit. What the hell? Any of the scenes with Vulture? Did he actually see Vulture or not? I can't remember that right now. And just like the love interest stuff and just all these scenes going on in the movie. What do you think about this scene or Spider-Man just wrecking everything? How he's just making all these mistakes. He's not perfect yet. I like that. Did you like that? What do you think about him being in high school again? I get most people I don't think are gonna be happy with that, but I thought it was pretty good. I thought this movie was very well done. I'm happy with what happened with this movie, and I cannot wait to see the sequel, and I can't wait to see what Spider-Man does with the Avengers. He's going to be in Infinity War. Everyone's going to be in Infinity War, so I'm really curious to see what happens there, and so I'm excited. So there you go. That right there is the review and spoiler talk with me, Lost Scarf, and the next movie will be, what is it going to be, Panther? I think Black Panther's the next movie, unless I'm wrong. It's going to be Black Panther or Thor. One of these is coming up next. And so, yeah, that right there is the movie review and spoiler talk. I had fun talking. Hope you have fun watching and listening. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.